Carson is arguing on the basis of context that life in himself refers to the self-existence of God, because the whole flow of argument is talking about descriptions only true of God. And he shows then how this interpretation is readily supported by a number of texts in John that depict the Son coming from the Father. So that's essentially what we're saying here. Again, don't think in time, eternally. The Son eternally coming from the Father. There are many statements, again, of the Son expressing dependence upon, and here's the key, and submission to his Father. Language of submission and dependence of the Son upon the Father is a support of this very same concept of the life in himself being eternally granted to the Son, having life in himself. Christ saying, I am, same sort of concept. So he's saying, I am divine and my Father is divine, but I'm divine because I have life in myself, because it was granted to me by the Father. There's a union there of the divinity. The Pharisees were thinking, this guy thinks he's God, he's denying monotheism. And Jesus is like, yep, I'm God, and I'm not denying monotheism. How does that work? Right? I mean, this was obviously new to them. For chapter 14, verse 9, anyone who has seen me has seen the Father. Carson cites that as support of this same idea. Chapter 8, verse 29, and he who sent me is with me. He has not left me alone, for I always do the things that are pleasing to him. Chapter 14, verse 31, but I do as the Father commanded me, so that the world may know that I love the Father. So there's all of these texts in which there's a claim of equal divinity, and yet this relationship of dependence upon the Father, or the Father granting life in himself to the Son. Carson even points out that John reserves Son to specifically designate the divine word. That word Son is significant. Carson says, in other words, Son language tied to the Father language is one of the unavoidable hints that the relationship between the Father and Son is rightly conceived of in terms of generation, indeed eternal generation. In other words, the terms Father and Son are not arbitrary. They are eternal designations for the first and second person of the Trinity, because they communicate something about what distinguishes them as persons and the relationship between them. But it's not like the Trinity decided, who wants to be Father? Who wants to be Son? Who wants to be Spirit? Or which one should we send? No, there is something about the Son. The sonship of Christ is eternal. And there is something natural about the Son being the one who would be sent because of the eternal relationship between the Father and Son, and of course Spirit as well.